Okay, it's in. You ready?
As ready as I'm ever gonna be.
All right. Hello there. Welcome to Triple Intimidate. I am your host Hayes,
And I am your co-host, Max.
and
So,
all right, let's start again.
okay, I thought I was gonna introduce
Okay,
it.
that's great. That's fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, let's go.
Hello there, and welcome to Triple Intimidate. I am your host Hayes.
And I am your co-host, Max. We are very excited to be presenting to you the very first episode of our podcast, Triple Intimidate. But what are we talking about on this podcast? So we're primarily, and by primarily I mean exclusively, going to be talking about our favorite game, Flesh and Blood. In this episode specifically, we're going to be talking about the newest set, Dynasty, which releases on November 11th. Very excited. And the new class that was spoiled in this set called Assassin.
Yeah. And if you're listening to this in the future, it is just the end of spoiler season. So most of the spoilers came out and people are cracking boxes now. So we've seen all of the assassin cards, I believe. So we're going to kind of go through them and say what we think about the class. As well, we're just going to introduce ourselves at the start here. So you know who's talking. I'll go first. Is that okay with you, Max?
Always, yes.
All right, so gonna kind of talk about my history with games and how I eventually stumbled onto Flesh and Blood. So early on when I was a kid, I'd play board games lots with my dad. When I was like 2 years old, he got me Battleship for Christmas. And it was kind of weird because I was 2 and I couldn't like read or anything. So he'd write cue cards with letters and numbers on it, and that's how we'd play. I'd hold up the letter and the number for Battleship. True
Did you know what
story.
you were doing? Did you have any
Uh,
strategy, or you just grab
like
one?
I think I understood that's like, sink the ships, get the red pegs down, right?
I guess to be fair, in Battleship, you can kind of just pick randomly,
You
anyways.
kind of just do randomly, yeah. So I got hooked on early on. We'd play games like Stratego and Monopoly and stuff,
We should
and
play
then
Spiro together sometime. I don't think we've done
we could. That can be a future episode, maybe.
that.
And so we played like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff when I was a little kid, and like I don't know if we actually played or collected or whatever, but we did martial arts together, and he was talking to a bunch of parents at martial arts and talking about how he'd play Pokemon and stuff. And this guy comes over to him and he goes, "Hey, have you ever played Magic the Gathering?" Well, since
Oh.
then, since then, my life has kind of taken a turn, and we started playing Magic together. We'd go to like F&Ms every week. We threw a bunch of money into the game, and we played a lot. And eventually, we kind of just got burnt out because we couldn't really keep up with standard. I was a kid at the time, so I couldn't like buy my cards or anything. So we kind of moved over to playing board games. Playing board games, they don't rotate out of standard or anything. So we did that for a while. Then when I was a teenager, I kind of got back into Magic because I had a job and I could afford paying the cards. And then kind of settled around, just mostly played Commander. And then I stumbled across a YouTube channel called Alpha Investments, and he would talk about investing in Magic, and he would crack packs and stuff. And I like just watch his videos. And he started talking about investing in this game called Flesh and Blood. And when I started looking into it, it was this game from New Zealand, and it seemed pretty cool. I'm like, this is super sweet. And so early 2020, I think like right before the COVID pandemic happened, I ordered the 4 hero decks. So initially they had like 60 card decks for Dory, Katsu, Rhinar, and Bravo. And so I ordered those, and I had to get them from like Australia. So it took like 2 months, but I finally got them, and no one would play with me. So I just started collecting all the cards. I taught my girlfriend at the time, and it didn't really go anywhere. No one was really meeting
You
in
and your
person.
girlfriend, or the game?
Both actually.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, so nothing really happened. I collected cards. I pretty much had a deck for every hero, kind of just collecting dust. And then I went to like one of the stores in town, and I was like, "Hey, this game's awesome. You should totally get it in. I'll like teach people, yada yada yada." And they're like, "Yeah, we'll get on that." And then 6 months passed, and they didn't get on it. So that was kind of a dead end. And then finally, in late 2021, a new store opened in town, game store, and I went there just to check things out. And there was one box of Arcane Rising on the shelf
Oh,
that one of the owners put on there just to see how it sell. And I was like, if you can get more of this, get more because this is awesome. I love this game. Literally the next week they were in contact with the distributor in Canada, and the week after that they had a bunch of stock. And then it was like Christmas break at that time, so I was off of school. So I went there like every day and I just sat there, and with the decks I collected, I just taught people all day. And jump ahead to where we are now, and our local community is awesome. On like an armory, we have like on average 12 to 16 players. Um, Lots of new players coming in all the time. We're doing learn to play events, and so hopefully it just gets bigger.
dang.
Yeah, yeah, I'm super impressed how much it's taken off. And so for myself, I've been playing Dorothea since day one. Um, she's my favorite, hands down. I really like how Warrior plays, and recently I think I've been doing pretty well. I usually win at least one of the armories every month, and we had kind of a local regional tournament. There's 9 players, but it was kind of like the best players in our area, and I came first, so it was fantastic. So
That's cool.
I really like the game. I think I'm pretty good, so I think that legitimizes. I kind of know what I'm talking about.
I think you're okay,
Um,
by the way.
yeah, okay at best. Really, really depends on the day. But yeah, that's about me. That's kind of my journey up until this point. How about you, Max? What about you?
Cool. Well,
Tell us about yourself.
my story is going to be a little bit shorter than yours, because my story is less interesting than yours, and I have less to talk about.
I don't know about that.
I've also, well, it certainly is. I've also played games since I was a small kid. I can't remember what the first one I played was, but we played a lot. There was like this dumb game called Chicken Cha Cha Cha. It's like a memory game. I played that a lot with my sisters, and then I kind of transitioned to strategy games. I played a lot of chess in high school. I was never fantastic, but I was like okay. I got up to like 1600, not in real life on chess.com. Real life
Very
was a
nice.
different story. Um, and then I kind of switched from Clash into, or sorry, from chess into a couple other strategy games like Clash Royale mobile. It's a strategy game, and it's a card battler. It's not real life like Flesh and Blood, but it's still like similar-ish kind of trading concepts that Flesh and Blood has. And I used to play some Magic as well, actually, in elementary school. I played in grade 5, 6, and 7, never competitively, just with friends at school. I was fine at it. And then I also enjoy playing many other games, like nothing as crazy as the things Hayes plays that take like hours and hours, but I'll play like Catan or what are some other good games that I like? I like Sheriff of Nottingham or like Seven Wonders kind of thing.
So
Seven
kind of
Wonders,
like entry level stuff, kind of
yeah, entry
casual
level
designer
stuff, but
games.
yeah, but you can still be competitive when you play,
Yep.
and you can
Sure.
still optimize your strategy. And I don't know, I'd like to think that I'm pretty good at card games. As for Flesh and Blood, Hayes and I met in, I guess it was
2018.
5 or 5 years ago now,
Something like that. Yeah.
and we both bonded over the fact that we liked games and Star Wars, and I don't know, we were at this camp and we just hung out, and it was freaking dope. And then I went to Kamloops, or maybe he came to Vancouver. We started visiting each other, and he taught me some other games, and we played this one awesome game called War Chest, and I loved it so much. And then he
Mhm.
instantly, like the next time I saw him, I was like, "Yo, we should play War Chest." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I got rid of that." It's
Yeah,
like,
we're chest is gone, long gone. Sorry,
yeah,
pal. I think it was
yeah,
because you beat me, and I'm like,
maybe,
I can't
maybe
ever play this
that's a
again.
good game.
Yeah.
And then he taught me Flesh and Blood, like a year ago, maybe for the first time we played, or maybe it was like 8 or 9 months ago. We played
Dude,
online and
no,
tabletop.
that was like in May.
Let me tell you the story. We played online in
Oh,
tabletop
right.
on Tabletop Simulator, and
Right.
it was this random game, and I didn't even think about it again for like another 3 or 4 months. And then I visited Hayes, and maybe we played a couple more times online before then. But when I got there, he was like, "Yo, Max, I'm gonna bring you to our armory event, and you're gonna play Prism." And he gave me this like broken Prism deck, except he didn't have Phantasmal Footsteps, which in hindsight is pretty bad. But I got to borrow
Yeah.
them from someone else. I don't think I
Yeah.
actually used them because I didn't know that they like blocked it all, or
Yeah.
I don't even know if I used them to like unpop the Phantasm. You know what I mean? Gain my action point back.
Probably not.
Anyways, I didn't win. I went like 2-2, which was pretty good as a brand new player
That's
because
solid.
the Kamloops players just
Literally,
decide.
like you were there for 3 days. 2 days just spent just
Yeah,
training.
and the
You had to
the
play
games,
Prism.
it was pretty good. And the games I lost were because I missed tunic counters, both of them.
Ooh.
If I had a tunic counter in either of those two games, I would have won them. And then
Oh,
I
we
would have
met
had
early
different
on.
opponents, of course, and then I probably wouldn't have won the whole thing. But anyways, I was 2-2. It's pretty good. I got home from Kamloops. I live in Vancouver. Hayes lives in Kamloops. And then I was like, this game's dope. I'm gonna order some boxes. So I ordered 2 boxes of Tales of Aria, 2 boxes of Arcane Rising, and 1 box of Welcome to Wraith, which might sound like a lot of stuff to order as a brand new player, but I did it. In hindsight,
Yep.
I probably would have bought singles, but I did it. And then I built some Blitz decks, and I taught my girlfriend and my sister's boyfriend how to play. And we played some Flesh and Blood over the summer. And then I started getting a little bit more serious about it. Hayes came back down to Vancouver, and we went to an event here. It was a skirmish.
Yep.
And I brought an Ira deck that was Hayes's because I still didn't have any real built decks. I did pretty well. I beat Yuki Lee Bender at that event. She was on Icelander, so I was pretty
Yes.
proud of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Hayes and I battled to get into the top four, and he beat me. It was like
Yep.
game four of Swiss, and we battled to get into the top four, and Hayes knocked me out. I was pretty disappointed
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that.
Weren't we both like 2-1 at that point, and we need to go 2-2 to get top four? I
Yes,
think.
yes, we were.
Yeah.
You lost
That,
to Yuki Lee Bender,
I did.
unfortunately.
Oh no, actually, I went three. I think we were both 3-0 at that point.
And I was 2-1 and
Uh,
you were 2-1. You lost first round to
oh
Yuki Lee
yes,
Bender.
that's what it was.
And
That's
then
what it was.
and then
Yeah.
second round I beat Yuki Lee Bender. So
Oh, dude, that was
I was
brutal.
2-0. I was 2-0 and then I lost to 2 Kasai's as Ira, which I kind of think is a difficult matchup, even with the flick flacks.
Yeah.
Maybe I was just bad.
I think if we
Anyways,
went back, you'd do pretty good.
after that event, I met some people, including Yuki and Jay, who host On the Bubble. Quick shout out there. It's a very good podcast. You should check it out. They're limited focused, but they've been doing some other stuff recently as well. So I met them and I was like, yeah, I'll come out to some events, but I didn't have any decks. So then I like, and oh yeah, and I bought a box of Uprising, maybe 2 at the store, and I opened up like this
Yes.
Feather Ashwing cold foil, and Hayes
Yep.
was on Dromai at the time, so I traded him plus a little bit of money, which is now not a great deal, for the Mask of Momentum that he had for the Ira deck, and then I had the Mask of Momentum. And I
Yep.
was like, oh boy, well, obviously I have to build Ninja now. So I bought a Tiger Stripe Shiko, and I bought a tunic, and I bought a flame scale furnace. And I was like, I'm fine. So I bought
Yep.
my Art of Wars, and I think I bought CNCs. And then I was like, well, I might as well get Easter eggs. And I just started getting everything. So I had a
Yep.
fully built Phi deck. Then I built Bravo because I was almost all the way there. I mean, he's pretty cheap. I built Kano because I thought he was dope. So I built Icelander because it's pretty similar. I had the Striders already. Then I built Dash because I opened a Teklo Foundry Heart in one of my Arcane Rising boxes. And now I've just actually now, like literally, I was late to recording this podcast. I was building Reinar, and I'm very excited to be playing Reinar in some armory events. Anyways,
Very
long
nice.
story short, I've been winning some local armory events on Bravo, and I've had limited success on other classes. But Bravo's been doing very, very well for me in the local meta, which is quite strong. We have around 8 people generally at our weekly armories, 8 to like 16, but generally 8. And 6 of them were in like the top 30 at Canadian Nats. Like they're all just like crazy players. Like the people at my armies include often like Yuki Lee Bender, Ian Smith who got second at Nats, Clay who got 8th at Nats, Eli who got like 16th, Eric who got like 11th at Nats. Like they all show up every week. So the competition's tough, and I've been beating them on Bravo. So I also think I'm a decent player. I also think that Bravo's broken sometimes when you
Bravo
draw
is
mid.
really. I think Bravo's really slept on, but that's a
I
discussion
think
for another time.
yeah,
Bravo's
true. True.
fantastic.
We
Yeah.
should move on to the main topic of the podcast. We've kind of been rambling for a bit, and
Yep.
I
Yep.
apologize, but
But
hopefully this gives some good
that's
insight
us.
into yeah,
Now,
yeah,
now you
hopefully
now you, now you know us.
yeah,
Now when we
yeah.
start saying controversial opinions about the assassin class, you know that we're legit. We
Oh
actually know
yeah,
our stuff.
and
Like,
then one other thing I should say, Hayes has been playing for like the whole time of Flesh and Blood being a game pretty much, and I've been playing as of like 5 months ago, six
yep.
months ago, and only seriously as of like 3 or 4 months ago. So I'm a relatively new player, but I have been thinking and playing a lot. So
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
cool.
Uh, so it's near the end of Dynasty spoiler season, and they kind of came out of the gate with some pretty crazy stuff. Before going into it, we knew that we'd be getting a new class. Um,
We
lots.
didn't know which.
No, we didn't. I think lots of people locally, for me, were thinking it was either going to be Alchemist due to like all of the potions and stuff from Everfest, or Necromancer because we haven't seen a Shadow here in a while. But as
I
we
like
know
the
now,
Alchemist guess. That's
yeah,
good.
yeah, Alchemist seems cool because I believe Alchemist is like in that lore book. They have like examples of classes, and I believe Alchemist is on there. So that's one people have been kind of curious about for a while.
They should have released Alchemist with Everfest because like I wasn't even around for it, but that set, just like looking at it, feels so random. It's like these
It's
random power cards for
super
different
weird.
classes, like Ether Wildfire, and then it's like also there's a bunch of potions. Also, we're at a carnival. Like at least if they had an
Yep.
alchemist who like I don't know was at the carnival and was like a carnival alchemist and used the potions
Something.
and had a hero ability that involved potions, maybe it would make sense.
Yep.
But I don't know. Just felt like a
James
very
White keeps
hodgepodge.
saying that like in the future potions and talismans and stuff are going to be needed. So
I believe it. But they should have made it
PvE?
more. They should
Well,
have made them needed sooner after the release of Everfest.
I agree. Yeah, it seems a bit weird.
'Cause it doesn't look like they're needed in this set either.
No,
Anyways,
no, I really don't think so. But
so
yeah,
what is
so
the new class A's?
we got Assassin. Assassin's super cool.
Oh,
And it's the Vipox guy, Arachne Huntsman. Max, you want to read for the people?
yeah, sure. So this hero Arachne comes in the classic constructed format as Arachne Huntsman, as well as he's playable in the Blitz format. He's a young hero as Arachne. And as Hayes said, he is the Vipox guy, and he has a hero ability that reads, whenever you play a card with contract, which is a new keyword in Dynasty, you may look at the top card of target opponent's deck. You may put it on the bottom. And I do like how they always have target opponent on abilities like this, just because it does leave room open for UPF to become a legitimate format in the future if they fix
One
it a
day,
lot,
one day it'll
or
be
just like
legitimate.
PvE uses. In this case, I don't think in a PvE game you would want to banish your. I guess in that case they're not your opponent. Anyways, he has 40 life as an adult and 20 life as young and a hand size of 4. And he's rare at young and majestic at old, regular. I don't know what to call it.
Adult. I think it's adult.
Adult, sure.
Adult hero. Yeah, and so his weapon is Spider's Bite. It is a one-handed dagger. It is an assassin weapon. And it says, once per turn, pay 2 resources to attack. Go again. It has Piercing 1, which is a new keyword in the set. If this is defended by an equipment, it has +1 damage. And it says when this hits a hero, the next time they defend with 1 or more attack action cards this turn, those cards have -1 while defending. And so he can whip out 2 of these.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they come in a left and right version, so you can look cool.
Yes. I guarantee
Um,
one of those is going to be really hard to find. Can't wait.
and I'd also quickly like to point out that the -1 defense while defending on attack actions is quite helpful because Assassin does have a fair few on hit effects, so that is a relevant ability.
Yep.
Piercing 1's also relevant because you can't block with something like an Iron Rot Gauntlet or whatever.
You
And
can, but it
well, yeah,
won't
but it's
stop it.
gonna get through. You can't fully.
Yep.
You're still taking the damage.
It's really
Um,
good against like Valiant Dynamo and stuff, where it's like, or and even like Rampart of the Ram's Head, like that stuff that people usually throw in every turn. You have to throw in 2 pieces of equipment if you want to stop this.
yeah, yeah. As well as Arachne's ability, something I wanted to say about it is that it's kind of cool because it's a way for you to know your opponent's pitch stack, but them not to know it because you're essentially if you do choose to put the card on the bottom, which I guess you often won't, but not always. Sometimes you'll want to put the card on the bottom. And if you do, you'll know what it is and they won't. So by the time you get to
Sure.
second cycle, if you're keeping track of it, you know what they have and they don't
Yeah.
know what they're going to draw.
But an important question: when you play a card with contract, what does contract mean? Well,
So oh yeah,
well,
let's go to the cards with
well.
contract.
Let's look at an example card here first. So we're
For
gonna look
true.
at Slay the Scholars first. So it comes in all 3 colors. We're mainly gonna focus on the reds for each of these cards. So Slay the Scholars costs 0, attacks are 4, and it has contract. Contract says you are contracted to banish opponent's non-attack action cards. When you complete this contract, create a silver token. And there's a reminder text: a contract is active while it's face up in the arena. And when this hits a hero, banish the top card of their deck. So if you're playing Arachne and you play Slay the Scholars, first thing you're going to do, because this contract card, you're going to essentially opt 1 on your opponent's deck. You're going to look at the card and you're going to decide if you want to throw it on top or sink it. And generally speaking, if you're playing Slay the Scholars, you want to make sure there's a non-attack action on top, so that when you hit, you banish that card and you create a silver.
Yeah.
In a
And just
nutshell,
in case you
that's
don't
what
know,
Assassin does.
Silvers are tokens, they're
Yes.
tokens, right? That go
Yes.
into the arena, stay under your control, and they read. I actually don't have one in front of me, so I'm going to paraphrase. You pay 3 resources, you destroy the silver, and you draw a card. So essentially, what that's doing is
Yep.
you put a blue in your pitch zone, and you cycle a card back. They also
Yep.
have other purposes in Assassin specifically, but you can always use them to cycle.
Yep.
Slay the Scholar specifically is good against Rune Blades, I guess, and Wizards. Anything
And
else?
warrior
And Warriors.
because of
Warriors-ish. Are they half actions, half reactions?
yeah, because like your warrior's valor, spoils of war, sharpened steel, those are all non-attack actions.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Anyways,
so
it's a
you
zero. It's a
generally
0 for 4 with contract, and
yep.
when it hits, banish the top card. So I feel like we're probably going to run it in most matchups, to be
Yep.
honest.
I
So
agree.
the next card also comes in red, yellow, blue. It's a common card called Sack the Shifty. It also has contract, and in this case, instead of banishing non-attack actions, we have to banish cards with base go again. So
Yep.
this is obviously going to be good against things like Ninja,
Yep.
things like Runeblade,
Yep.
uh,
I also again think
Lexi.
this is good against yeah, yeah. Well, Lex I don't think Lexi has much base go again. It's usually go again off of the
I
bow,
misread.
right?
I misread that it's just base. That's very true.
Yeah. So
Neither
it
does
has to be
Runeblade.
it has to be
I guess
printed.
it's yeah, it's mostly
Well,
good against
most of
like
the some of the
Ninja.
non-attack actions, because I think this card's really good against Warrior again, because all of those buffs like Sharpened Steel, Warrior's Valor, Spoils of War, that all says give your next attack, whatever, go again, printed on that card. So I think you're going to see Sack the Shifty and Slay the Scholars kind of put together
Yeah, you're
for
absolutely right.
the
It's good
non-attacks,
against Runeblade as well. All their non-attacks that go again, pretty
and
much.
based on the art, it's an assassin chopping a ninja's leg off. So ninja's the obvious one there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then all these cards that we're reading in the beginning here come in red, yellow, and blue, and they just do
Yep.
one less damage per color you go up. So yellow does 3 and blue will do 2. And
Pretty
the two
standard.
that we've read so far block 3, and so do all of the assassin cards, I
Yes,
believe.
yeah.
So
I think
thank
you're
you, class.
correct. Yeah.
Would you like to read the
Um,
next one? The next one?
yeah,
Oh,
Nyx the Nimble. So Nyx the Nimble, this is a 1 for 5 in the red version. So 1 for 5, 1 for 4, 1 for 3. You're contracted to banish opponent's reaction cards. So
interesting.
this is what's interesting is it's any reaction, so defense or attack reaction. So straight off the bat, I think obviously this is fantastic against Warrior, specifically Dorothea, because half her deck is going to be reactions. I
Is it going to see
also
play against anything else? Because it's not
uh,
a 0 for 4; it's a 1 for 5 with.
it
Oh, and
is,
the
yeah,
last card I don't think we said out loud. I'm sure you probably assumed, but it does on hit banish the top card of the deck. So
card,
do all of these
yes,
cards
yeah. I believe every assassin attack at least banishes the top card,
at
and
common and rare.
yeah, and contract always creates a silver.
Cool.
Um, yeah, so this I think you're gonna run against Katsu if you see a Katsu. Because I think like ancestral empowerment, razor reflex, and like flick flax and
Yeah, yeah.
sinks, right?
I mean, Blitz against Ira as well, and I guess maybe Guardian.
Yeah, yeah, I think Guardian as well.
And it does work. The one cost isn't terrible in Assassin because it does
No,
work with the Spider's Bite.
yep, and I guess like relatively speaking, attacking for 4 is you're still getting 2 cards out of them, but that can be like 1 card in an equipment. Whereas when it's coming in for 5, there's you're kind of pushing for more, right? Like that's definitely
Yeah,
going to
but I
put 2
would,
cards in hand.
in the general case, 4 and 5 are pretty similar breakpoints, I would
Yes,
argue.
yeah,
Anyways, so this card I'd say is probably okay.
yeah,
Next card is Fleece the Frail,
yeah,
and it has contract. You are contracted to banish opponent's cards with 2 or less defense.
yeah.
Whenever you
And this
complete it,
is a
create
0 for 4.
on hit banish. 0 for 4 as well at blue, 0 for 2. Blocks 3.
Uh, I'm going to
This
say
is obviously good
something.
against Fi. I think it's good against a
Yep.
fair few
Okay.
classes, actually. I think it
Interesting.
would see play against Icelander. It's a 0 cost. She has block 2s, any of the ice stuff. Even Oldham has block 2s, elementals, rune blades, non attacks like Nimblism, Scarfer Scar, all that kind of business. Uh, I'm thinking Briar specifically. I mean, I haven't seen much Viserai in my local meta recently. I think this one's very good.
Fair enough. I think this is the worst one of the bunch. in my, in my opinion, I just think a couple things. I think in most cases, cards with 2 or less defense, um, you're not going to want to banish anyway.
Yeah, but this gives you
Um,
a plus side if you do. Actually,
that's
oh, that's
true.
fair. I guess you have control with Arachne's ability, but if you think about
Yeah.
it, you don't have that much control with Arachne's ability because it happens. What actually happens first?
With what?
You hit banish the top card to complete the contract. Now that you've completed the contract, you opt one, right? Or is it when you
No,
play a
no, no.
card with
It's when you
contract?
play a contract.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So right away, you know. In
But
my
don't
it
we want to
just
play mid range? Don't we want to play mid range as assassin?
dude, I don't know. I'm bad at this game.
I don't know. I'd say we kind of probably want to play mid range because we don't
Maybe.
have built-in go again. We have it with the boots, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
But I think we want to play a game where we block with 2 cards and then play like 3 out. And if we're
Yeah.
banishing our opponent's 2 block cards, they're a little bit more incentivized to block back at us. So I don't think it's that bad. Anyways, I'm just
That's
trying to think
interesting.
of. I mean,
And
they do.
I
Yeah.
because I like initially like when I think of 2 blocks, I mostly think of Phi. And like I guess you could be banishing some solid stuff there. It is also 2 or less defense. Now, Art of War, for example, which has like
True.
it doesn't defend at all.
True.
This works on that because
I think so.
it has less than 2 defense, right?
Maybe not. That's a question for Hayes's local judge. I
Yeah.
don't know because it doesn't have a defense value. So I wouldn't say it has
Yeah.
less than 2 defense. It doesn't have a defense value. It doesn't have no
Yeah.
defense. It has no defense value. Anyways.
So I think that's an interesting to look at because like sigils, art of wars, stuff like that. This is kind of a good this kind of a good target for that, I guess. Um, but yeah, I think this one's fine. But I don't know.
I changed your mind. Let's go.
Maybe I don't know. Coming over to the next one, however, annihilate the armed. This is another 1 for 5, and the contract is you're contracted to banish opponents' attack action cards. And of
Ah.
course, when this hits, banish top of the deck. I think this one's just great.
Yes. The only caveat is it's not a 0 for 4. It is a 1 for 5.
Yeah.
But I
And
agree.
like
This
it's
one's very
not
good.
good into Wizard and Dorothea specifically, but I mean most of your matchups, they're gonna have attack actions. So I think Annihilate the Arm is great.
Yeah. I think this is going to be in every assassin deck. I think
And
it's
I
pretty
think
cool.
for the most part, what it comes down to is you'll run most of these, and you just have to sideboard very well depending on your situation.
Yeah, and we do want to leave some sideboard room for like non-assassin actions because we do
Yep.
have a. Well, actually, we'll get to it later.
Yep.
The next card is Rob the Rich. It's
Yep.
1 cost, 5 damage. This one comes at rare, and you're contracted to banish opponent's cards with cost 2 or greater. And when it hits, banish the top card of the deck. I think this is
Yep.
probably the weakest of the 1 for 5s. It only really should see play into like Guardian,
Yep.
Brute.
Yep.
Um,
That's pretty
what
much it.
else?
Very good.
Yeah. What runs
Uh,
2 or greater cost? That's not a thing. Uh, yeah,
maybe Runeblade, but I wouldn't run against Runeblade.
yeah. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
This
think
one,
this
this
is
one's pretty bad.
into Guardian and uh Brute. That's about it.
And Hayes, why don't you read the last of the rare and common attack actions for this new class?
Yeah, we've got Plunder the Poor, 0 for 4. You're contracted to banish your opponent's cards with cost 1 or less. When this hits, banish top card of the deck. This one is great. I think you're
Yeah,
going to run
yeah,
this against literally everyone.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a zero
Uh,
for four, so if you do have room, you probably should take. Not because it's a 0 for 4. I said that weird. I was gonna say if you have room in your sideboard, you might want to take it out against Guardian
yep,
or like Reinar.
yep.
But
But otherwise, it's a 0 for 4
yeah,
that will. And even when it comes down to it, worst case scenario, it hits and you banish top
you
card of the
banish.
deck.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And
These cards, even if you don't fulfill their contract, they do banish the top card
yep.
of the deck.
And it's like even like if I swing with this and it's like, oh, you have staunch response red on top. I'm going to leave that on top so that I will hit you and banish that because I'd rather banish that than get a silver, honestly.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
That
Silver
kind of
is
thing.
very, very valuable in this class,
Yep.
and I think
We'll
now is
definitely
the
see that
time.
later on.
Not now. Should we talk about these attack reactions first? Let's talk about the attack reactions first. You're right.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Um, I'll read the first one, and it is
Yep.
called "Cut to the Chase." It is common. It comes in red, yellow, and blue.
Awesome
Uh,
art, first off. Sick
yeah,
art.
true,
Looks great.
true. I feel like I never mind. Whoever released this card said something about the art, and maybe it was just that it was cool, but it is cool. I like the art. And it reads target assassin attack action card with contract, which is almost all of them,
Yep.
gains +3 at red, +2 at yellow, and +1 at blue. And then you can look at the top card of the defending hero's deck, and you may put it on the bottom. So that's Arachne's ability.
Yep.
So you can
So
play this as a
it's
reaction
yep.
before it hits. Choose the card or at least like opt the card that you want to banish on hit.
Yep. Yeah. So it's like I honestly, I think you're not always really needing the bottom ability, but it's just like if you play a contract card, you look at the top and it's not a hit for your contract, you sync it, you play this for the +3, and then hopefully you can get what you want on top.
Yeah.
But
And what was
otherwise,
the other?
it's
Go
+3
ahead.
for free, which is solid in red.
You can tell this is our first podcast. We keep interrupting each
Yeah,
other.
it's fine. It's fine. Good.
Why don't you read the second attack reaction for assassin and final attack
Second,
reaction?
yes, yeah. So we've got Shred. Um, and Shred is very interesting. So,
I hate
uh,
the art. It makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't know if that's just me.
but I think it's supposed to be like a crown, right?
Oh, is it? It looks just like I thought
That
someone was behind him, or like I thought an assassin had like stuck weapons in his head and then just left him there. I don't know. It
no,
made me feel
I think the
uncomfortable.
idea is that like it looks like the shards look like a crown or whatever.
It looks like there's swords coming through his eye sockets. But anyways, sounds good.
Uh, okay, my page with all the spoilers is screwed up. Can you can you read it? I can't see.
Sure, sure. So Shred is rare. It comes in red, yellow, and blue. At red, target card defending an assassin attack gets -4 this combat chain. And then at yellow, it's -3, and blue is -2. So this is very interesting because a target card could also mean equipment.
Yep,
We don't really have equipment that blocks for greater than 4, other than that new ninja chess piece, which isn't going to be played against assassin, as well as carrion husk, which I don't know. Nobody plays Levia. Sorry, Pierre, who is Hayes'
yep.
local judge. So I personally think, and I think Hayes might disagree with me here, but I personally think that red shred is not great.
Okay.
Yellow's often what you need in assassin, I feel like, to play like a 1 cost 5 and then like 1 cost 5 with your boots or something. So I think yellow is a pretty valuable thing to have over red. And I also feel like -4 is just never gonna happen unless you're targeting like a sink below or fate foreseen or some big defense reaction. But like maybe this is good to board in against something like guardian or something a little bit more defensive, but this is pretty useless against especially aggro decks like Fi that just aren't going to block you and say like, you know what, I don't care, banish all the cards you want off the top of my deck. This doesn't even buff your attack. Like it minuses their defense, and if they're not defending, it doesn't do anything. It's the whole kind of reprise issue all over again. Um, thoughts is
Um, I like this card. For like like yeah, you're the whole point is not to push damage through, but just to get your on hit effect is really what I think it's for. Like it's not about doing more damage. It's literally just doing whatever you can to get that hit so that you get that banish and try and fulfill your contracts.
so you're
Um,
saying -4 versus -3 doesn't really make a difference then, because either way it's getting you the on hit.
I like red specifically for like unmovable and staunch, where it's a block coming in for 7, because most of your attacks are 0 for 4. If they block for 7, your yellow will bring it down to blocking 4. So I think the red is if they block for 7, and like odds are, let's say I attack you with a 0 for 4, and you have uh, like a staunch, you're not going to block. Go to reactions, you're going to throw down your staunch, right? Now
Yeah,
that I've targeted and given it the -4, unless you have like a sink or something in hand,
yeah.
like that's going to be getting through. Um, I just think it's interesting. I just think one issue that might arise with Assassin as a whole is it's going to be tough to push that damage through. And
Only
like
against some
currently,
classes, though. Other classes, you're going to need to push the damage through.
yeah, and it's like um, Razor Reflex is like the only kind of generic attack reaction they can run. So I think they need more access to reactions. So I think that's where Shred and um, Cut to the Chase come in play. I think
Fair
Cut to
enough.
the Chase
Fair
is
enough.
better, but I think just Shred does something a bit different. Um,
Honestly, I could see an argument for only running, or at least definitely running a blue shred or 3 copies of blue shred, because even in those aggro matchups, it's a blue block 3. All the assassin
yep,
cards block 3. That's great, and it's 0 cost, and it's a
yep,
reaction for when you need it if you do.
yep,
I think blue shred's actually very good on further reflection.
yeah,
Maybe just under rainbow. Who knows?
and I've like practiced a bit in Talishar, and having an arsenaled red shred is just awesome because like you can block out with 3 cards from hand, have a 0 for 4 in hand and swing, and they can like sink it or whatever, and you're like, oh, okay, that's sick. Well, you're taking 4 damage still.
True.
Um, and
Still
it's
though,
interesting.
do not arsenal this card against aggro. I would caution because
That's fair. Yeah.
you can't target the defending card if there's no defending card, and that's just stuck there.
Yep.
And we're
Yep.
not running crown, and we
Yep.
should tell you why we're not running crown. At least probably.
Yeah.
I think the headpiece is pretty good. So let's talk about some equipment
Yes.
for assassin. Can you see it, Hayes? Do you want to read it?
Yeah. No, I'm good. Yeah. So we got Mask
Okay.
of Perdition. So first says, while Mask of Perdition is in your graveyard, at the start of your turn, you may destroy 2 silvers you control. If you do, equip Mask of Perdition. It is battle worn and it blocks for 1. And it has an attack reaction. Destroy Mass Perdition. Target assassin attack action card gains. When this hits hero, banish top card of their deck. So pretty much all the cards already say that. So it turns the card into saying when this hits, banish the top 2 cards of an opponent's
Yeah,
deck. That
and you
hits.
do get to do it at reaction speed,
You do, yeah.
which is pretty good.
Now, this is where I'm not totally sure, but I do believe that contracts stay around for the combat chain.
They
So
do, I think. I'm pretty sure they do.
let's say you have Plunder the Poor, and you hit and you crack this, and you banish the top 2 cards of their deck, and it's 2 cards that cost 1 or less. You net 2 silvers off of that.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
correct,
I
right?
guess like you net 0 silvers, right?
Well,
Because
okay.
if
You
you're paying to
gain
equip the Mask of
yes, you
Perdition god.
gain 2 silvers off of the contract because
Yeah,
you fulfill the contract twice to get 2
yeah,
silvers. I believe that's how it works.
yeah, you do.
Um,
And then if you do want to pay to get it back, you didn't actually net
sorry,
anything.
okay, net was the wrong word, but you gain
But
2
yeah,
silvers.
this also lets you like after you've so let's talk about the boots. But
Yep,
the boots have the same concept. When they're in your graveyard, they're called Black Tech Whisperers, by the way.
yep,
And while they're in your graveyard, at the start of your turn, you can destroy 2 silvers you control, and if you do, you can re-equip them. And this means you just put them back in play. They
yep,
also have Battle Worn 1, so they'll block 1 and stay in the arena. And they have an attack reaction: destroy Black Tech Whisperers. Target assassin attack action card gains. When this hits a hero, it gains go again. So if you hit, it gets go again. This is kind of like Razor Reflex without buffing it. You can think about it that way. And I think a good thing to do, because Mask of Perdition isn't going to overpay for itself. You know what I mean? Like the maximum you can generate off of attack reactioning with Mask of Perdition, other than the one defense you used with it, ideally, is 2 silvers, and it costs 2 silvers. So what I think
yep,
we're probably going to see is people playing Black Tech Whisperers as an attack reaction, and then using Mask of Perdition to get the silver to get Black Tech Whisperers back.
yep,
And then you can generate silver in other way to re-equip the Mask of Perdition. And this actually, so although this seems really good and like you can probably cycle them every turn, let's actually break this down a bit, because the way it's going to work is on the opponent's turn. This is turn 1. It's opponent's turn. You block with Black Tech Whisperers. Now
mhm,
it's your turn, and you attack and you destroy Black Tech Whisperers at reaction speed.
yep,
Now that's the end of turn 1. Now it's and let's say we have 2 silvers. Now it's the opponent's turn 2. They attack. Now it's our turn 3. We re-equip it, but
mhm,
ideally, to get maximum value out of our 2 silvers we spent, we want to block with Black Tech Whisperers and then attack with it again,
yep,
which means we're actually going to have to wait till the end of turn 3 to use the attack reaction again. So it's
Yep.
like once every 2 turns we're getting this attack reaction if we want the defensive value out of it, which we probably do. Which might make sense with the silver generation speed. Because you don't get it that fast. You get like 1 per contract generally. I mean, 2 if you're using the Black Tech Whispers. Anyways, the equipment pay for themselves and you can keep using them. Black Tech Whispers definitely superior because it gives your attacks go again. It's like your only source of go again, unless we're running something like even bigger than that, which
Yeah,
we might.
that's one thing we didn't really touch on is that Assassin looks great, but literally none of the attacks have go again printed on it. So
Yeah,
when
0.
these cards were initially coming out, it was like, wow, this guy's really cool, but I'm going to be playing 1 attack per turn. And then we saw this, and it was like, okay, this all makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's important to note the Whispers are a legendary, and the mask is
Ah,
a majestic.
that is important to note. So
Um,
we're gonna want to be running Tunic, just side note on this character,
yeah,
like always.
yeah,
And we might want to run Crown of Providence in some matchups, maybe. I don't really know. And then there are no good
potentially.
gloves. So we're going to be
Yeah.
running either like Iron Rot or we're going to be running um whatchamacallit, Null Rune, depending on the matchup. Maybe Ironhide with the tunic. I
Yeah,
don't know.
gloves is gonna be your null rune
Yeah.
slot against like rune blade.
No, nothing like Goliath Gauntlet because everything's 0 or 1
Yeah,
cost.
which is unfortunate, but
Except for 1 card actually, but we'll talk about that
yeah.
next. I
Um
realize we're running we've been talking a while. We should probably try to speed up.
no, we're good.
Are we good? Okay. No one's gonna listen if it's too long. If
That's
you're
fair.
still here listening, we appreciate you. It's our first
Yeah.
episode, and we like that you like listening to us talk, or at
Yeah.
least have enough patience to bear through it.
We have
Anyway,
some intelligent stuff to say. We're only at
some
42
okay,
minutes. This is fine. I
that's
was aiming
fine.
for an hour. I thought we'd have to stretch it out.
Okay, cool.
Anyway,
We
so
argue, so
about
it
the
just kind of
equipment,
goes.
I think it's crazy that they keep getting it back, and like that is a lot of just value because it's like like Valiant Dynamo, for example. Like you're getting a lot. Like let's say you block with it 10 times in a game. That's literally 10 damage you prevented. I don't think you'll be able to block that much with this stuff, but like that's super solid that you can keep getting it back.
Yeah, and there are 2 of them, and it fits very well into the mid-range game plan, which I'd like to advocate for. Again, we're definitely not an aggro deck.
No,
We're more of a control mid-range deck, and the longer we stay in the game, the more value we're getting out of our Black Tech Whisperers and Mask of Perdition.
100%.
Because every 2 turns, it's a life, right? So it's
Yep.
pretty good.
Yep. So that's the equipment and kind of the commons and rares. That's gonna make up the meat and potatoes of your deck. Now, some majestics that kind of shake things up a bit.
Ooh.
So first we're gonna look at Payday. I believe this is the only non-attack action Assassin has. I think that's correct. This is the only
Yes, it's
non-attack
the
action
only
it has.
one. It's the only
So
one.
Payday is blue, and it costs 0. And it says if you complete a contract this turn, create 4 silver tokens. Max, what do you think about this card?
It's a blue block 3 at 0 cost. It's very good. It lets you get your mask and your Black Tech Whisperers back.
Oh
You're going
yeah,
to have to, as a side note, use Black Tech Whisperers,
yes,
hit with a card, uh, with contract, banish an appropriate card that fits the contract, and have Payday in hand because you need to give the attack go again to play Payday. It's
yep,
not like it's not for in the future. It's if you've already completed a contract. So you have
yep.
to complete the contract, then play it. So I think the cases where we're actually playing this for 4 silvers are pretty rare, but it's a blue block 3 and you can cycle it. You can pitch stack it if you want. We are mid range. That's a thing we can do. I think it's very good. I think blue
I think
block
it's
3.
a really good Arsenal card as well. Like you can set in Arsenal
Yeah.
early on, and let's say you've just got like a 1 card hand, and like they let it hit, you crack your Whisperers to get that go again, just to play Payday.
Yeah.
It's essentially a turn where you're getting minimum 5 silvers because you're getting 1 from the first contract and 4 off this. So I think
And
it's good
I think silver generation might actually be a little bit tougher than we kind of anticipate it to be because
potentially.
a
Yep.
lot of these contracts are not 50/50s and some are better than 50/50s like when we just banish a random card off the top of the deck and obviously we control it with Arachne's ability. But I
Yep.
think we're generally generating like 1 silver per turn on average or something. I
I
could
believe
be a
that's
little off
yeah.
with that.
Because with no go again,
Mhm.
uh, yeah, yeah. Most turns I feel like you won't really have go again. Well, with what we've seen here, but
So
yeah,
payday
it's
very
pretty much one
valuable. I
turn.
think the 4 silver is very valuable.
I agree. I agree. Uh,
So next card,
yeah, love this one.
Surgical Extraction. Would you like to read it?
Sure. So this is a blue that costs two. This is the most expensive assassin card. And contract, you're contracted to banish opponent's blue cards. However, it has kind of a different on-hit ability. When this hits a hero, banish a top card of their deck. Then look at their hand and banish a card.
So this is disruption, and that's not really a thing we have in Assassin, other than a couple cards. We do have kind of like the mill strategy, like banishing from the top of our opponent's deck obviously makes them run out of cards. We can banish valuable cards and not let them hit their combos because we banished it away. It's
Yep.
very good, but this is actually slowing down their turns directly,
Yep.
immediately. We're banishing a
Yep.
card from their hands. Very good. Hey,
And
would you
it's
like to run one blue pummel in your deck to target this card? Because that seems like something you do.
uh um maybe. Well, we have to see. Like,
Shouldn't have
because
said that. I shouldn't have said that.
I think with this card, um, they have to block it. Like, because it's either they block it or I'm choosing the card in your hand I want you to lose.
Yeah, yeah.
And I get knowledge of what's in your hand, right?
It's like a
Uh,
better Command and Conquer, except it only swings for four. But it's blue.
and it also targets their hand, not their arsenal.
But that's better, isn't it?
I don't know.
You get
Command
you get to see their hand, choose the card rather than whatever's in
the
their arsenal. I think
assassin.
it's much better.
Honestly, this is one of the best attacks in the game. I
I think it's
think
very
because
good. We're running this in every matchup, by the way, 100%. It's blue block
yeah,
3 as well. What the
everything
heck?
has
First
blue.
listed.
Even Phi has blue.
Yeah.
Maybe not Dromai. I don't know if people run
Honestly,
red
I don't
blue
even care
Dromai.
about the contract on this card. I just want to banish cards from their hand.
Oh yeah, that's also a thing. Yeah, it's just
I don't
good.
know. I feel like we need
Um,
disruption.
and
Disruption's good.
even like with this card, because you're banishing two cards, you can fulfill a contract twice if you target two blues. And if you crack your mask on this turn and hit three blues, that's three silver.
Very nice.
And I
So
think the pummel is interesting too because pummel
of course
will
you
because it'll be on hit. They also discard a card. Um, so yeah,
That
that's
is how
rad.
Pummel works. That
That's
is
rad.
rad. That's
That's
rad.
two cards gone. And
Sweet.
yeah, yeah. You know what? Blue pummel. Yeah, everyone, you hear it here first. Run three blue pummels to target all three surgical extractions.
Very interesting. You'd be cheeky and run like one blue pummel, so you pummel the first one, and then they'll like play around the next two.
That's true. That's true. Always block surgical extraction for six. That's all I have to say.
True.
You wanna read the next one?
Yes, so leave no witnesses. I said that the other one was like a better Command and Conquer. If that's true, this one's like a worse Command and Conquer.
I guess.
Because it
I
maybe
guess.
it's better. You know what? I think they're both better Command and Conquerors, except the other one. The
True.
other one obviously has a downside. It only attacks for 4 rather than 6. You can play defense reactions against it. Okay, fine. Maybe that works. Command and Conquer, very good card. This one here is a 0 for 4. Also hits for
Yep.
4. 0 cost. It's red, so it's not blue like the other one. And it has a better contract. You are contracted to banish opponents' red cards. And when you complete it, create a silver. This is better in most matchups, not all, obviously. And then when this hits a hero, banish the top card of their deck and up to one in their arsenal. So this one's literally Command and Conquer. It does the banish off the top and then one from their arsenal rather than their hand. So the
Yep.
on hit ability for this card is worse than surgical extractions, but it's free, hits for the same amount, and has a better contract. So I think they're both very good. They're both ran in all matchups. Both very good
Yep.
cards.
And this card's art literally destroyed the universe. Everyone freaked out. And then Star City Games revealed that this was the playmat, and everyone lost their minds. So, good art. Good art's a thumbs up for me.
Okay. Next card. Or do you have
Arguably,
more
okay,
thoughts?
the actual best assassin art is Eradicate. So this is a yellow only. It costs one and comes in for four. You're contracted to banish opponent's yellow cards. And when this hits a hero, banish the top X cards of their deck, where X is the damage dealt by Eradicate. What do you
That's
think, Max?
crazy.
It's crazy. It's super good.
Especially in Blitz. Like thinking about this card in Blitz, if
It's
we
true.
played 2 cut to the chases on it, now it's up to 10. They didn't block. We're banishing a quarter of their deck off the top of
Yep.
the deck.
Yep.
That's ridiculous.
And if we are to believe that contracts less the combat chain, which I do believe, let's say you go, I don't know, plunder the poor, give it go
Mhm.
again into this.
Yeah.
Now, when you banish the top X cards of their deck, you hit a silver if it's cost one or less or yellow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And at that point, if we have that much silver, I mean, we're probably not
Crazy.
going to be vanishing yellow. The contract on this card's irrelevant. It's the on hit
I
that's crazy.
agree. I agree. I like, yeah, the like if this had literally any other contract, it would be bananas.
Yeah.
Um,
I'd like
yeah,
to
so you're not really gonna hit yellows, but that's fine.
I'd like to amend my earlier comment. Black Tech Whisperers, if you have enough silver to just play them without blocking one, just back to back to back every turn, you should certainly do it. I just think we're gonna want to be
Sure.
blocking one because we need
Sure.
silvers and they're hard to generate.
Yeah,
With
you're
this card, if
definitely
we
not
generate
getting the
like eight
value,
silvers,
but
say
yeah,
we generate like 7 or 8 silvers off this card, and I know this is like best case scenario, then
yep.
we just play Black Tech Whisperers every single turn, back to back
That's
to back to back.
literally 4 turns of black tech.
Yeah, I mean maybe
And
we're
and
like
also too,
cashing in or
that's
something,
you
but
have to make sure black tech hits, or you have to make sure the card hits for black tech to do its thing.
yes, very
So
true.
it might not always be like a good time to crack it.
Yeah. And I actually hadn't looked at the art on this card. I just kind of like saw it zoomed out a few times. It is pretty sweet.
Yeah,
All
it's
all
rad.
of the assassin art's very good, I'd like to
Yeah.
say.
Okay, Max,
However,
why
the
don't
one,
you close us out here?
yeah, this is the one that I
Uh,
actually think has the coolest art. Maybe it's just
yep.
because it's the first one that I saw and it's
Yep.
dope. And
Yep.
this is a promo version that I'm looking at right now, so it's like extended art. Anyways, it is Regicide. And Regicide is the first attack action that we saw spoiled for Assassin, and it
Yep.
immediately made me very, very, very excited about this class. And I felt maybe a little bit misled. Like the rest of the class doesn't really fit with this card other
Mhm.
than it being a combo finisher. Let me just read it. It's a legendary Arachne specialization, the only legendary assassin card and the only Arachne specialization card. It is 0 cost, it is blue, and it blocks for 3. It attacks for 3. And it reads, when this hits a hero, sorry, when this
Oh,
hits a
dude,
royal
I
hero,
wish it didn't say royal. I wish it just said hero.
it reads, when this hits a royal hero, they lose the game. Just period. Game's over. When the combat chain closes, however, you lose the game. So when you play this card, the game's over. You just have to figure out who wins and who loses. Regicide cannot be defended by cards with the same name as cards in the defending hero's banish zone. This is a blue block 3. So obviously this is very good when the hero's royal and you pitch cycle it and you wait till the end of the game and they can't block it. Or you have like 3 cut to the chases or something and they've blocked with 2 cards already. You can just end the game right then and there. But the fact that this can't be defended by cards with the same name as cards in the defending hero's banished zone, if we're getting to second or third cycle against something like an Oldhim or an Icelander and we're playing defensively and blocking out and just playing some classic mid-range flesh and blood, we get to the end, you can look at their banished zone, you can keep track of their pitch cycle, you know what they have, like we've third cycled, we know exactly what they have, we know what we banished lots of cards. You can just play this and it's 3 unblockable damage except with equipment, which they'll probably have used because you have other on hits. Like even if the hero isn't royal, this card's very, very good for long games. And it's just a blue block 3. I think this comes in every single matchup. What do
And
you
let's
think?
make sure as well to make it clear, because cards can't be defended by cards with the same name as cards in defending heroes banner zone. So if they have, I know they won't be running rainbow sync blows, but let's say they have a
Well,
blue
flip
sync
flag.
blow, flick flack. Let's say flick flack. Let's say they have a blue flick flack in Arsenal. They cannot block with blue flick flack, yellow, or red flick flack,
Nope.
which is crazy. That is
Yeah.
like because we kind of have to see where Royal goes. As of now, it doesn't seem like there is going to be much Royal Heroes going on. But just the
Uh,
fact that they can't block this is crazy.
I don't think anybody's going to be royal against assassin.
Yeah,
As a
no,
side
I don't
note,
think so.
the
Yeah,
so like right now, other than the Emperor, we have no royal heroes, and the Emperor is Blitz only and
yep,
doesn't seem that good. We haven't really seen
yep,
support for him, so I'm a little bit confused about that class entirely.
yep.
Um, anyways, that's a side note.
I
But
think
the
the
point
Royal
is,
Hero line is just for flavor. I think it's really just and like if you can just you know
yeah,
razor reflex this a couple times.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, it has to be at the end of the game when they
yep,
have like 3 life left. But that's
yep,
what happens when you're down to second or third cycle.
yep.
Yeah. So
And
so
it's
it's
cool,
just
and it's legendary, so you can only have one in your deck anyway. So I think you might
Mhm.
as well just run it.
I think this should come in every matchup. Worst case, you're just
Yep.
blocking 3 and it's fine.
Yep.
But yeah, people can just unequip the crown. I thought maybe there was going to be a way for people to build a deck such that if you get rid of the crown, you literally don't have enough playable cards. And this is the Crown of
I thought
Dominion
as
for
well.
anyone who doesn't know. It makes your hero royal, and on equip, you create a gold token, which is very good. It's like on equip, gain a resource, pretty much. Cycle a blue, gain a resource. That's it.
Yeah.
For the gold. You can also run like one cash in or something with it, but it's never going to be so ingrained in your class. Like there aren't royal cards. You're never going to be playing a class other than the Emperor that needs to have the crown on. So if I'm playing against the Assassin and I usually run the Crown of Dominion, I'm taking it off. I don't know about you guys. I'm scared of the Regicide. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
So I think it's just 3 unblockable, and then you can buff it, pitch
It,
stack it. Totally a
yeah.
thing.
3 unblockable is good. If you get them
But
low enough,
you better
that's
win when you attack with it. You better be very sure you're winning because obviously when the combat chain closes, you're done.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah.
So I believe that's all the assassin cards.
Yeah, that concludes the entire list.
So we're just gonna throw out some ideas on how we think you'd build this.
Yeah, with
Um,
generics that we think may be good
is
with the
there?
us.
So I think obviously I think as we've said before, the issue with Arachne and assassin cards is not literally zero built-in go again. So I think you're going to need to throw in some generics that give you go again, specifically Razor Reflex, because that will allow you, if they block out trying to stop the on hit, you can push over the top, get the hit, and get go again off of it.
Yeah, I think
Um,
we run like blue and red razor reflex
Interesting.
probably.
That's fair. Yeah.
There are a lot of
Um,
blue assassin cards that are okay though,
yeah.
and
I
razor reflex does
also
block too, so it doesn't fit well into the mid range.
yes. Yeah. That's kind of the only issue. I've been thinking about Art of War as well.
Mm.
Um, I don't know though.
What do you
From
choose? Go again and banish and draw two. Art of War is also interesting because you can play it at reaction speed, right? Like it's an instant. So
True. Yeah.
they've blocked 4, you've presented 4, and it's like leave no witnesses. Then you can Art of War, pump it up by 1 and give it go again. And not
Yep.
only do you have another attack, but you've hit them and banished a card from their arsenal. So can
Yep.
be very good in situations like that. I think you're choosing go again if you're playing Art of War
I
fairly
think so.
consistently.
Yeah. Um, and then what, in my opinion, this is where you heard it first. You're gonna see it every deck list. Blue, even bigger than that. I think
I
is gonna be
agree.
awesome because you swing with Spider's Bite, and because here's the thing: like you pitch a blue or whatever to swing with Spider's Bite, because it costs 2, but the rest of your cards are either 1 or 0 cost. So you swing with Spider's Bite. Hopefully they take 1. You play even bigger than that. All of your
Even bigger than that's
cards.
free also.
It is free. It's an instant. Yeah, if you don't know, even bigger than that.
You do damage and then you like opt 1, 2, or 3 depending on the color, and then you flip the top card of your deck, and if it's more damage than you've already dealt, then you draw that, like you draw a card into your hand and then create a quicken token. So it gives your next attack go again, and Spider's Bite is only 1 damage. So we're drawing uh hopefully we have a lot of attack actions. We're drawing something that has more than 1 attack because everything has more than 1 attack, and people generally don't want to block the Spider's Bite because they can't really do it with equipment, and if they block it with a card from hand, it's
That's a
bad
card draw.
value. Yeah.
Yep.
And we're
Sorry, did
fine.
you mention that you make a quicken?
Yeah, I said
Make a
quicken.
quicken, which is
Uh,
great because
yeah,
then it'll give
yeah.
your next
Go again.
thing go again.
Mhm.
And then so hopefully like you
Wouldn't be
can
surprised if we wanted to run like yellow even bigger than that as well.
maybe, yeah. Because at least because it's like opt 1, 2, or 3 depending on the color. I think I don't know if you really need to opt more than 1, but
That's
because
true, but I don't think we need to opt more than 1, but I think we might need more copies of it, at
that's fair.
least into aggro. Because the
Yep.
thing is, aggro has to block 2 cards in our deck, exactly, and it's
Yep.
leave no witnesses and surgical extraction. Eradicate even in CC, they probably don't care about very much. They can just push
Mhm.
damage, ignore
Mhm.
everything we present them. We're only banishing cards from their deck. We're not going to mill them because it's like Fi. He's pushing out 30 damage, then 20 damage, then 20 damage. There's only so much of that we have to present damage back. That's why Oldham goes kind of like hybrid against Fi. Um, you just can't really block it all.
Yeah.
So I think against aggro we need stuff like even bigger than that to give our stuff go again. Against things like Guardian, we'd probably not take the yellow even bigger than that. But these are just my 2 cents.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. Any other generics you think belong in here?
What did you mention? You mentioned like Captain's Call or something a
Right.
while back.
Yeah, I think Captain's Call you could do or lead the charge. I think Captain's Call is good because
Yeah.
you can either pump your attack because it gives your attack either +2 or give it go again. You choose. Um,
Unless I'm mistaken, those do both block two, and they are just
Two.
they are just like pretty much strictly less, like they're just worse than, even bigger than that, and
Yeah.
worse than um Razor Reflex, because Razor Reflex pumps and gives go again, and
Yep.
since it's a reaction, we're probably getting the hit, and even bigger than that, replaces itself because you draw a card and
I
it's
think
free.
as well with Assassin, you want to present as little information as possible. I think you want to be like,
Yeah,
"Yep, I'm attacking for 4
yeah,
with
I
3
agree.
cards in hand and an arsenal," but
I think it's a little
that's
bit of
fine.
that like Dory mindset. It's like
Yes. Yep.
bluffing kind of idea. Hayes also presented an interesting concept, and this isn't a card that we think goes well with the class, but Hayes said that he's excited to play Assassin because you can mess with people. Like you can
Yes.
look at the
Yes.
top card of their deck, and maybe it's a card that what did you say? Why don't you just say it, Hayes?
So okay, so because I'm just kind of opt one. You play contract, you opt one on your opponent.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you want to keep a card on top that matches the contract. Um, in my opinion, there's kind of 3 avenues. One, you want to keep a card on top that matches the contract. Two, you want a card on top that is good that you want to get rid of. So like let's say my contract is cards with 1 or less, but on top is a command and conquer. I'd almost rather get rid of that command and conquer than get a silver off of this, right?
True.
Um, or I think what's funny is you can just leave a card on top that like I don't know, blue Warriors Valor, blue Hit and Run, just something not very good, to try and just bait out a full block.
They
Is
don't
that
want
in?
that. They don't want that card you left on top to be banished. You're gonna complete a contract and banish the like best card in
Yeah,
their deck. And
yeah.
so
So
it's just
I
being
like
shitty that you wanted them to draw. I thought that was clever.
yeah. So I feel like there's kind of some mind games where
Yeah.
it's like okay, yeah, leave that on top. So like if I attack you and I go, yeah, leave that card on top, you're assuming that it's either a good card or it's something that I want to banish, right?
True.
Um, I don't know. Is that a good strategy? I don't know, but I think there's
I think
just
it's
interesting
funny.
stuff.
I think it's worth testing. One other thing that I actually just realized about the aggro matchup specifically is we actually do have a little bit of disruption here built into our hero and its Arachne's ability. It's not ripping cards from their hand, it's not taxing them on resources, but it is choosing some of the cards that they're going to be
Yeah,
taking. Like we can use this instead of trying to like contract and make silvers, which I guess we probably should be for our boots. We could like be an Art of War against Fire and be like, well, that's going on the bottom. Or I guess you can also just leave it on top and banish it. Anyways, there's a couple avenues, but against Fire, you're probably not going to see the second cycle. So if it's not fulfilling your contract, it's like the same thing to put it on the bottom or banish. Then again, you might see second cycle because since you're banishing from the top, they get back down to the bottom of their deck quicker. I don't know. We'll have to test and see.
yeah.
So
I think it's interesting. I think Assassin's super cool.
it is.
I have a case of Dynasty, and I really hope I get Black Tech Whispers. Because I think the thing is you really need that to make
Yeah,
this
I think
hero
if I
work.
don't open Black Tech Whispers, I'm gonna buy Black Tech Whispers, and I'd rather not buy
Yeah,
Black Tech Whispers. So
yeah,
same with all of these assassin cards. Actually, I'm certainly going to be building and playing with assassin, which I guess
yeah.
should lead us to our next topic, which is what's our evaluation of the hero? Is the hero good? Do we think assassin's going to be meta? Do we think it has legs against the meta decks? Why don't you start, Hayes?
Well, you know, Max, if I could see the future, uh, I'd be a millionaire.
True.
But based on this, I want it to be good. I want it to be good so
Yeah, same,
badly.
same.
But I can just see some. I could just see some issues. I think like into an ice matchup, it's gonna be brutal because all of your 0 for 4s you now need to pay for.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd say I guess against we don't have any, another important thing to note is we don't have any AB in the class equipment.
Yep.
So we have our Black Tech Whispers and our Mask of Perdition, neither have AB. So if we're running both of those, like honestly, probably we're taking like, since we're so mid-rangey, we probably have to take something like Null Rune Hood, Null Rune Gloves, and
I
like
was
Null Rune Robe.
Yeah, I was thinking you keep Black Tech Whispers no matter what. Like
I think so.
you need it. Like they're yeah. Like
Yeah,
I think the
yeah.
class is really built around it.
We don't need more than AV3. I
No,
just like honestly, I think our Icelander matchup isn't terrible. I think we're a lot better into classes that are more control oriented. I was gonna say classes like Guardian and Wizard, but Kano, I don't know about. We're probably getting to Kano too, but he's definitely not control oriented. But I think we're pretty okay against control because we have the mid range game plan and they kind of let us play the mid range game plan. They do block our contracts and stuff, which is pretty annoying. But we block well as well. We're also gonna be taking like Sync Blows and Fate for Scenes, maybe even Sigil of Solaces,
yep.
Unmovables probably for the Guardian matchups. Like I think
Oasis
we're pretty
Respite because
defensive.
that's what everybody does nowadays.
Maybe people have started taking it out in my local meta. I
Yeah,
don't know. The fact that it cost one's pretty annoying in a lot of decks. Like I guess it's good with the tunic, but we're not going to be running the tunic against things like Icelander anyways. So why not just run
it's
Sync
true.
Below? Like Sync Below.
Uh, you mentioned something that I want to touch on quickly before we do some final thoughts here.
Yeah.
You mentioned Kano. I
Ah.
think Arachne shits on Kano because
Probably definitely.
you opt one on him. It's like,
Oh yeah,
oh,
that's true.
and so because I think generally speaking, I don't play much Kano, don't play much into Kano because he's not really in my local meta. But like usually you kind of want Kano wants everything presented, and then that's when he starts like comboing off. I'm gonna
Yeah.
slap down my card. Arachne triggers. I opt
Dude,
one
that's
on
some
him,
that's some mind games against Kano though. Like you were talking about mind games against other classes, but like you present a hit and you leave his card on top. He's like, what does that mean? Do
and
I
it's like
go off the
it's like an
top now?
energy potion or something on top. And
Yeah.
he's like, oh, here we go, and it's just nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's very interesting.
yeah.
Too bad there's
So
not more Kano around.
I think that'll be a really fun matchup, but
Yeah, I agree. I
interesting.
certainly agree.
So,
Overall, I think I'd have to give this hero like a B, which I guess is kind of like a cop out. I don't want
yeah.
to say that Arachne is very good or very bad, or that the assassin class in general is very good or very
Well,
bad.
I'm gonna say it. Arachne's gonna be the best hero in the game. He's gonna LL
Okay.
in like a month. I'm saying it. I'm saying it
All
right now.
right.
Sure
Honestly,
about it.
I expect people to come out with some spicy builds and for most of Hayes and my predictions to be wrong, but I think we got some
Yep.
stuff right, mostly just because of the sheer volume of what we said. You can't be wrong on that many things, but
If Assassin is bad, it's gonna be the new Ranger. Like the absolute dedication people have to Ranger class is
true,
insane. And I think
true.
if Assassin isn't very good, you're gonna have that absolute insane dedication again.
I definitely agree with that, and I think I might get caught in it if it does happen and Assassin isn't very good because I don't know. It also has the same like Azalea is just so mid-range, right? Like not
Yep.
Lexi, but Azalea is just so like
Azalea.
they
Yeah,
almost feel
let me
similar,
let
and
me
they're
be
both from the
clear.
pit.
The dedication to Azalea is insane.
Yeah, yeah. And
So
and Azalea and Arachne have the same borders. They're or like border around the card. They're both
they
from the
do.
pits, which is like a location.
Yep.
Um, yeah, just side note. And I
Yep.
feel like they might play a little bit similar, as in they both play best with two or three cards in their hand.
That's true. Very true.
Um, yeah. So that's
Yeah, I think
all
that
we
wraps it up.
have.
Yeah.
We did go a
Uh,
little bit longer than we should have, but
no, I think that's fine. I think it's
I
good.
had fun. Did you have fun?
I had lots of fun. I hope the listeners had fun.
Yeah, I hope the listeners are still here. If
Um,
yeah.
big hot takes. Yeah. So, um, that's the first video. Thank you for listening to Triple Intimidate.
Yeah.
Uh, we've got because it's end of spoiler season. We've got a super cool idea for the next video, and we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, and one other thing that we maybe should have talked about in the intro but didn't was the reason for the name of our podcast, but
Oh
we'll
no
save that
no
for
no
next
no!
time. We'll
We're
save that
saving
for
that.
next time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's good. It's good reason though. It's pretty cool. Um
Excellent. All right.
anyways, thanks
Thank
everybody for
you.
listening.
Thank you. See you guys next time.
Bye.